On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we're breaking down the biggest takeaways and headlines from the offseason, what you need to know about OTAs and mandatory minicamp we're going to talk about, and it all starts now. First day of summer break for the Broncos, but no break for us. We are here to talk about the Broncos off-season program, give you the biggest takeaways from what we learned throughout the past many weeks, and we're doing it on the DNVR Broncos podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores, and we are the DNVR Broncos podcast. Ryan Koenigsberg to my left, Henry Chisholm to my right. We got Logan and you here behind the camera, and Zac Stevens rocking and rolling with you today. Fellas, happy summer in the NFL world.
Yeah, should we negotiate that if the Broncos are off, we're off?
Oh my goodness, that would be incredible. I mean, when the Broncos are on, we're on.
Yeah,
It's
when
true.
the Broncos are off, we're on.
So when the Broncos are off, we're off.
The
I
thing
like
is,
this.
we already have Fridays off during the season when the Broncos are on. So I feel like that would be the flip. So like we have those 17 Fridays or whatever, but then we get our 17 off days.
Yeah, but don't they have an off day?
That's true.
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
they've got Tuesday.
They do have Tuesdays
we
off.
would just
Tuesday
trade
off
But
and we're on.
they're also on Saturdays. And we're off Saturdays.
All right.
Well,
We could negotiate.
Well, no. So they have Tuesday off,
They have Tuesday off, yes.
and we only have Saturday off.
Well, we also kind of have Friday off.
No, because we work Friday.
Ryan gets Fridays off.
Right. Okay, Ryan,
No,
you
I
got to work on
I
Friday.
also work
Okay, well then
Fridays.
there we
Well,
go.
no
We're
Broncos
even during the
show.
I don't
season.
work on this show on
Okay.
Fridays.
We're even during the season.
Okay.
That's all right. We like being with our community.
We do.
Even in June.
How would you guys be celebrating the off season or this summer break? These 5 weeks, if you were a Bronco,
Golfing every single day.
where?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Internationally?
Sure.
Yeah.
Colorado, California, Colombia.
Mexico, Ireland.
I was just trying to say things that started with C.
Oh, keep going. Chile.
Nice.
Yep. Costa Rica.
Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
Henry, what would you do besides watch every Rockies game in person?
Whoa, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, no, I'd be in Atlanta tonight. Yeah, I think I'd probably go to Disney World. I was thinking about it. I think, honestly,
Are you on the fast track to becoming a Disney adult?
no.
Be careful
Because
with
I
your
think
answer.
you're allowed to go to Disney without being a Disney adult. I could be wrong about that. My understanding is,
You have like 3 trips.
yeah. And
Without
then,
kids, though?
like,
Yeah.
there's like a type of behaviors that are allowed. Like if you're just like chill, you go hang out. It's like, oh, roller coaster. Like, oh, I think, you know what I think it is? I think if you do drugs, you're allowed to do it.
Oh.
Wow.
I think that if you're the kind of like, going back to like the Meow Wolf conversation,
Yeah.
if you take like that sort of approach to going to Disney World, I don't think you count as a Disney adult. Not
You
that
just
that's
count
what I
as-
would do.
You just count as a druggie?
Not that there's anything wrong with being a Disney adult.
yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. No, Disney adults, I actually really like them.
Wow. Disney World and experience enhancers.
Yeah.
That sounds
like,
crazy. That kind of sounds scary.
There's like
if I'm
that
gonna be
new
honest.
Universal Studios park down there too, where they have like the Monster World or whatever. It's supposed to be really scary.
Like Monsters Inc.
No, that's in Disney,
Okay.
I believe. They might not even have a Monsters Inc. thing. They should. They probably do.
What's the one where you drink around the world?
That's Epcot.
Epcot.
And that's in one of them, right?
That's a
Disney
Disney,
World.
World.
That's
Yes.
in Disney World.
I've never
Yes.
been to Disneyland.
Really?
Yeah.
Want to go?
No.
We got 5 weeks.
Gonna
this,
go golfing.
this show live from Disney World.
It could hit.
That would be sick. With the show needs to be. We haven't had a road show in forever. I mean, Super Bowl, I guess.
London.
London. We will have that.
Man, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. And so before training camp starts, And I believe it starts in just over 5 weeks from now.
Okay.
We got a lot to break down still. And before we look ahead to training camp, let's look back at the offseason program, what we learned from the Broncos when it comes to OTAs, mandatory minicamp. We were at every single practice. And we want to break down the biggest takeaways. And I just want to start with my biggest takeaway. And you guys tell me if it is the biggest takeaway of the offseason or if I'm just looking at the quarterback too much. Because my biggest takeaway of the Broncos' entire offseason program is just the steps that Bo Nix has taken on the field, off the field. We saw him grow in a leadership perspective. I saw him on the field, even leading guys like Courtland Sutton more than I ever saw him do it last year. He was doing it already this offseason on the field. He and Sean Payton admitted that the game has slowed down for him, which has allowed him to be able to speed up, not think as much in the huddle. As Sean Payton said yesterday, as we heard from him on this show, less pause, less hesitation in the huddle. Less pause, less hesitation in the pocket. And I think we've seen that. And Ryan, it even got to the point of you pointing out on, I believe, Tuesday's show. We went 48 minutes into the show without talking about Bo Nix. But I think that points to the big step that he's taken this year and how that stability for the Broncos is by far, in my opinion, the biggest takeaway from this offseason. Am I buying too much into the steps Bo Nix has taken, or is that the number one takeaway?
Well, it's hard because I expected this.
Exactly.
So I don't know if it's my number one takeaway because I was already taking it for granted, which I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really take anything for granted in the NFL, and we've seen enough sophomore slumps out there and, false positives, as Vic Fangio would say, to not take it for granted, but I did. And it's because of my confidence in Bo Nix between the ears and my confidence in Sean Payton as a head coach. I was just like, yeah, of course Bo Nix is going to take a big step forward this season, especially this offseason, because he's no longer a rookie, who needs to put Google Maps into the facility every single day when he leaves his house. So I took that part for granted, but you're right. It was the number one box that had to be checked.
Yeah.
And it was checked. So you're not wrong for saying it's your number one takeaway. It's just not mine because I expected it.
Exactly. Like if they had said things have not slowed down for Bo Nix, that would be my biggest takeaway. Because the expectation is like things should slow down. It should feel a lot easier. It shouldn't feel like it did last year. It's like he's working with the receivers. It kind of goes back to me to that like Mr. Bronco conversation. Where it's like, why can't the quarterback be Mr. Bronco? Because he has to do all those things anyway. And it's that same sort of thing.
But he wasn't doing those last year.
No,
we have seen big steps taken from last year. This year,
yes,
we've actually seen it.
There were big steps, but again, it just, to me, like Ryan said, just expected. It's like he's planning the retreat for everybody. It's like, what did Sean say when he was asked about it? He said, I think most teams do it. Again, you're no longer a rookie. That's just a thing that you should be doing. And so again, like maybe it's unfair to just expect all this from Bo, but it's more so I kind of got what I thought I was going to get.
Okay, so I'll go a step further with my takeaway and how I feel, how comfortable I feel with Bo. Entering the offseason, you're hopeful that Bo's not going to have the sophomore slump. CJ Stroud had the sophomore slump, and he had one of the best rookie seasons of all time just 2 years ago. Had a little bit of a sophomore slump. It wasn't a major one, but it definitely was a step back. After this offseason program, I am very comfortable saying that my takeaway from this is that Bo Nix is not going to have a sophomore slump, and he's also not going to stay at the very good level he played at last year. He is going to take a jump in that next direction, and I feel very, very comfortable with that from what I've seen and what I've heard.
I love that. That fires me up. And again, that part is a little out of my expected range. Like I expect Bo Nix to be at least as good as he was last year. But you're saying like big jump. I think that would be too much to expect from where I'm sitting. So that would be like, if he takes a big jump from where he was last year, I won't be saying this at the end of the year. Like, yeah, I expected Bo Nix to throw for 40 touchdowns, that wouldn't be fair. So that fires me up.
I think my expectation would just be, you throw out the first month of last season, kind of like what Baldy was saying. You throw out the first month of last season where things weren't all settled, and if you just get whatever you got from October on, but for the entire season this year, that's an acceptable step. And again, like the stats might not bear that out because there's always going to be differences. But I think that to me is the expectation. Anything above that, exceeding expectations.
So I'm curious what that actually would look like for Bo Nix before we get to other expectations for him in the takeaways. Yeah, take out the first. Where do we start?
I would say start at game
week 5. Yeah, week 5 to week 17. What that would be over 17 games. Because I don't even know if I might be going further than that with my expectations for him. And when Henry looks that up, I want to give a shout out to our friends over, oh my goodness.
The earliest ad break of all time.
Is it really? Our friends. Well, I want to get to this and make sure we have enough time. And it's our friends over at First Bank and our friends over at First Bank. If you're looking for banking that plays at your pace, whether that's tailgating, grabbing halftime snacks, or catching the game from the couch, First Bank is in your corner with their secure, easy-to-use mobile banking app. You can check your balance, split the tab for stadium nachos, and stay on top of your money anytime, anywhere. It's like having a financial MVP in your pocket, and here's the play that pays. You can earn $300 when you open a new First Bank checking account. Use it to score tickets to the Nuggets, Avalanche, or Rockies, or whatever keeps your game day going strong. First Bank makes managing your money feel like a win. No games, just solid tools to help you stay in control right from your phone. If you're ready to take banking to the next level, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC. And remember, if you want to take that banking to the next level, go to efirstbank.com/bonus.
Also, a reminder that we are heading to London with True Fan Travel. If you haven't had one of the True Fan Travel experiences yet, they are awesome. And I cannot wait for this one. Got the update from Spencer that we've already sold several of these packages.
Let's go.
And we're about maybe a quarter of the way to our goal. So we really, really want to have a big old group with us heading out there to London, and you got to check it out. We're going to have a 5-night stay at a luxury hotel, private tours, pub meetups, an exclusive pep rally, tickets to the game, which you can't get anymore, by the way. We have them. And our guy Benny Fowler is going to be with us out there.
Go.
So we cannot wait for this once-in-a-lifetime trip. Go to truefantravel.com to sign up to go with us.
Okay, so I see Henry crunching the numbers, but I've just done it via the computer to let me crunch the numbers. So I got the numbers.
Okay.
You can fact check me, though, Henry. In the final, 14 games of the regular season, Bo Nix.
13
games of the regular season. Thank you. If you take those and put it over a 17-game season, Bo Nix threw for 68% completion, 4,073 yards, 37 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 3 rushing touchdowns to go along with 400 rushing yards on the ground. That'd be pretty exceptional.
If that happens, the Broncos are competing for the division.
Oh, without a doubt. And Bo Nix is in the MVP conversation. And I even asked Baldy, who's pretty pro Bo Nix, pro Sean Payton, pro the Broncos, if it's crazy that would happen and he would be in the MVP conversation. He said, that's a little much of a stretch. This is why it's not that much of a stretch, is because he is in the conversation. He might not win it with those numbers, but we're talking about over 40 total touchdowns and 10 interceptions. That can easily get you the MVP right there. But guys, why? I'm not expecting more than that. But why would we say, that's his ceiling? And I'm not saying either of you are saying that that's his ceiling. That was just after a month into his rookie season, and we've seen him take additional steps this offseason already. I don't think it's crazy to say, he could be even better than that. And when I was thinking about what to expect from Bo, I was thinking between 35 and 40 touchdowns. Oh, this is exactly that right there.
Yeah, that would be 40 total touchdowns, 10 interceptions. If I'm being picky, I would like to have less than that in the interception category. But that's just me being picky.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the MVP race. The Broncos are competing for the #1 overall seed in the AFC. It would be really, really big time if Bo Nix was able to pull that off.
The Broncos, by the way, are winning the division and are competing for the 1 seed in the entire AFC if that happens.
I need to clarify semantics here, though. Are these your expectations for him or your prediction for him? Because I think there's a big difference there.
What is it? I guess what is the difference?
Expectations means if he falls short of it, he's fallen short of your expectations and thus disappointed you. Prediction is like, I'm calling it. He's going above and beyond what most people are saying he's going to. Like, I'm calling my shot here.
I'll say that.
Okay.
I'll say that. I mean, my expectations aren't for him to be in the MVP race, and if he doesn't get that, then it's a disappointing season. My expectations would be he needs to take a step from last year because of what I've already seen. Unlike CJ Stroud, I've seen enough this offseason where I believe he is going to take that leap and not be in a sophomore slump. But my prediction is that he is going to take a big-time leap this year. And guys, the one thing that we haven't mentioned with this either is all of the help they've put around Bo. So it's not just Bo that's going to be able to elevate his play. It's all of these other weapons around him that are going to be able to elevate his play. The offensive line's the exact same. The offensive line's going to be very good. Bo's going to have a running game, but then on top of the running game, he's going to be able to throw the ball out of the backfield to RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. Those guys are going to be able to make plays once they get in the hand of the ball. It's not going to be just Bo having to create plays. Then Cortland Sutton, that chemistry's there, so that would, you think, naturally take a step up. But then they've added Evan Ingram, which I think is going to be massive for Bo Nix, work in the middle of the field. And then you just talk about the steps that we've seen from Devon Vele and Troy Franklin taking from year 1 to year 2 as well. That's going to help Bo. And then Pat Bryant, too. He's been a very impressive rookie. So it's more than just Bo helping these numbers. It's so many other things helping it.
I heard Troy Franklin put on 5 pounds, so now he weighs 10 pounds.
Wow, yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, it looks like he's put on more than 5 pounds in a very, very good way. Last year he was skinny. This year he looks like a weapon.
Hell yeah. I own pretty much all of the Troy Franklin stock. So.
Yeah.
We own it.
I was buying when others were selling.
Wow.
Everyone else was selling.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I think this is probably the bar to stay on pace in terms of like a championship window. Like there's a way that things go, you know, where it's like, I remember when Russell Wilson got here, people got upset with me because I thought you need to go to the playoffs in the first year with Russell Wilson, because if you're thinking you got 2, 3, maybe like 4 years of Russ, you need to at least be at this level to kind of start the climb from there. Because if you wind up as a 500 team or below that, it's tough to see that in 2, 3, 4 years you're going to get that team to championship. And I think for Bo, if you look at those numbers, that's kind of where that trajectory is, to be saying like, yeah, we think we're Super Bowl contenders, that the window's open, that, you know, by 2028, last year, the rookie contract, or 5th year option, I guess that would be, we think we've got a real chance to win one there. So I think it's an unfairly high standard maybe, but maybe the standards do need to be unfairly high when that's the goal.
So I think that we've got a real chance to win one era is right now.
Yeah.
And it goes along with my biggest takeaway of the offseason. And it's the pass rush. And I got to put my hand up here. I have to make a confession. I kind of felt like the pass rush last year was like a little bit of a fluke. For whatever reason, it just didn't feel as real. And maybe it's because it didn't have the Von Miller, the DeMarcus Ware, the big names, that I was just like, this seems crazy. How is this happening? But everything that we've heard from you guys, honestly, from inside practice, is that they've only gotten better and they've only added more weapons. And that to me it can't be understated. Because if this team is going to win a championship, it's by the defense, not just being a good defense, but being a havoc-wreaking defense, one that forces turnovers, one that, you know, racks up sacks, all of those different things that the 2015 defense did at such a high rate. And so when I hear things like a certain Bronco getting to the quarterback and yelling, "I'm so effing good," like, it's because it's just so easy for him right now. That means to me, okay, last year wasn't a fluke. Last year was actually the beginning of the story for this pass rush. And guess what? Everyone's back. The whole band is back together and then some. And so that to me is the number one takeaway, because when I hear that, I start to imagine, okay, if they can be the best pass rush in the NFL this year, they have arguably the best secondary in the NFL. And they have an offense that should be taking a massive leap forward from last year. And I start to think about what Henry said, which were those words, like, we've got a real chance to win one.
And and then it goes a step further, and then you think about the 2015 defense, and you think, okay, well, what was their formula for winning a Super Bowl? What certainly wasn't the offense. It was the pass rush, which then helped the secondary. The secondary helped the pass rush. You see that equivalent here in Denver. And then you think of not just the Broncos who have won a Super Bowl with that formula. It's, look who beat the Chiefs last year and embarrassed the Chiefs and made Patrick Mahomes look less than human in the Super Bowl. And it was the Eagles with the pass rush, and they had it from the outside. They had it from the inside, and that's what the Broncos had last year. They had an all-pro at interior defensive line and outside at the outside linebacker position with Nick Bonito and Zach Allen, plus Jonathan Cooper, plus DJ Jones. And you have all these pieces, and then you added one that I think, and might be my second biggest takeaway, is Q Robinson can play right now, and he's your fourth outside linebacker. And so you just added, and then it makes you think about that 2015 defense again, and it makes you think like, okay, you mentioned the names Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, first ballot Hall of Famers. Well, who was that second line behind him? It was Shaq Barrett, who went to lead the league in sacks one year.
One DPOY? Maybe.
He was up there.
Not,
exactly. And first round pick Shane Ray. Okay, well, could Q Robinson turn into that? Boy, he's impressed me more than I ever would have expected, and I had a lot of high expectations for him coming from Alabama. And then the other guy is Jonah Ellis, the only player in the NFL last year to have 21 sacks to have 5 sacks as a 21-year-old. It's exciting, Ryan. So I totally see why that's your biggest takeaway.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason why it felt fluky last year was because they blitzed so much. I think the reason why you looked at it and said, like, how are they doing all this? The answer is, on passing downs, there are only 3 teams who blitzed more than they did. And so when you send that many more guys, you wind up getting more pressures, getting more sacks, and you're kind of like cheating the system a bit. But
keep doing it.
Exactly. There's no reason to stop doing it. If anything, you could justify doing it more because you've got Tauno Ufunga instead of PJ Locke, who, again, PJ had a good year. Ufunga, you would imagine, can be just a tick better in man coverage against tight ends or whatever you want him to do. So I think that's why the numbers felt like they felt better than what you'd expect just from having watched it. But there's no reason they can't keep doing that.
Well, Ryan, you said keep doing it to being aggressive. Hufunga's first impression of Vance Joseph defense this year, he wasn't here last year, of this year's defense was aggressive. And so that tells me the blitzing is going to continue to happen, as we talked about the pass rush being good. And they added a 4th-round pick who I think can contribute to this team. But the secondary added way more. They added a first-team All-Pro in Hufunga in the secondary, didn't lose anything in the secondary, and then also added a first-round cornerback who can be that do-it-all. So not only did you add guys that can blitz, but you added guys to make the secondary better so you can blitz even more. You can play more one-on-ones. You can trust the secondary to be able to contain the wide receivers and tight ends back there so that Vance Joseph can be even more aggressive.
I love it. I love it. And I love watching aggressive defense. And I hate watching passive defense. So I'm excited to see them just crank this thing up this year and just trust your guys. Like, that is almost a defensive coordinator's dream. It probably is a defensive coordinator's dream to just look out there and be like, I trust every single one of these guys in man coverage. Send everyone else. Yeah. And they're going to have the opportunity to do that this year.
Man. I'm also at the point where I think Vance Joseph will not be with the Broncos in 2026. I think that what he's been given, I expect him to be a head coach after this season. I expect him to get another chance because this defense just goes and balls out and wins a couple of playoff games and makes a run in the playoffs, and he's a hot coordinator that gets poached. But on the flip side, because of how much talent there is, if the Broncos aren't a top defense, Wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired if the defense doesn't live up to that. Now, again, I think it's going to be more so that he does get a head coaching job, but I think that those are the expectations now set on Vance Joseph. We talked about the expectations for Bo Nix and how they're high, but maybe not super high. I think Sean Payton has extremely high expectations for Vance Joseph and this group where one way or the other, I don't think he's here next year, which is just crazy.
It is crazy. I don't know how people like our friend Todd Davis want to get into that business.
Yeah.
You're either moving or moving.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, but respect to him because it is a unbelievable grind to be a coach, and it takes a special type of person to want to do it.
Really quick, even head coaches, how many head coaches in the NFL right now are totally secure? It is a handful.
I would say less than 10.
Yes. Maybe even 5. Maybe we can even count them. I mean, Sean is 100% safe. Andy
Jim
Reid,
Harbaugh.
Yep. Jim Harbaugh. Andy Reid. John
Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
They could be in that Nuggets stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like, only 3?
Where things are a little stale. We just have to throw something.
If you miss the playoffs with Lamar.
Yeah, if something like that,
Or
or
just
like
even
they
not
were to
win a
lose like
Super Bowl.
4 straight games in the middle of the year or something. Like,
Or just not a Super Bowl this year.
yeah. So he's out.
Kyle Shanahan, to me, no.
He's on the hot seat.
You know who finally, I think is safe is, oh my gosh, why can't I think of him? The Eagles head coach.
Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, because he just got a contract extension. So I think he's safe for a couple of years.
Yeah, I also think he's top 5 head coach.
I agree with you. But wouldn't you say last year it wasn't even?
Well, if we're in Philly, everything's like twice as dramatic.
More than twice.
Does that mean the highs are twice as good?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Climbing up street poles, yeah.
Who else is safe? Is Matt LaFleur safe?
Probably should be, but I don't know.
So
From an outside perspective, I'm going to be comfortable. Dan
if
Campbell's
Harbaugh's not safe, then he's
Dan Campbell's probably safe.
Safe as can be. Yeah. Mike Tomlin?
No. I think there's been too many rumors, just
Yeah.
which is crazy
That
to
is
say.
crazy. Never missed the
Just
playoffs, right?
Off the top of my head,
or never had a losing
Sean
record.
McVay, he's safe.
He might retire though.
Yeah, the Rams aren't safe from him, but he's safe from the Rams. You guys are doing a great job dropping
Pete
him
Carroll,
in the Toyota chat too.
All those first-year guys.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know about
we've
first
seen
year.
it. Pete Carroll's
I
definitely
think
one of
Pete
them.
Carroll is safe, but I wouldn't include.
Like, is Liam Cohen safe?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there've been like 5 first-year head coaches who've gotten fired.
Honestly, and unless someone else drops something else in the Toyota chat, I think that's it. We got to 7.
Yeah. Right around.
And the point of all of that was just to back up what you're saying is even probably Kevin O'Connell. That's 8. He just got a contract extension too.
Yep.
Yeah, they could be bad.
That's 8 coaches in the NFL, in the entire NFL, not just head coaches that feel safe with their job.
Oh yeah, because if the head coach isn't safe, no one else is.
Yes, that is so crazy.
It really is.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't even know how
It's
we
the
got
NFL.
on that.
Something about Todd.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that was a fun conversation.
It
though.
was.
Henry, I want to get your biggest takeaway of the Broncos offseason program after I give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, where if you want a great, dependable, reliable, comfortable, cool, sleek, I can just keep going on with all of the words that describes Toyota because they're all good. Visit a local Front Range store at a location near you, and I'll tell you what, this summer is about getting out and being adventurous, whether you're going to go whitewater rafting, you're going to hit the mountains, you're going to go to the beach. Toyota's got the perfect car for you. And if you're in the truck game, they've been in the truck business for generations now, and you can get your hands on a Toyota iForce Tundra Max, which provides that hybrid engine to the rest of the engine, just make it that much stronger. So if you're going to be pulling anything, doing some off-roading, Toyota has got you covered. Make sure to visit a local Front Range Toyota store at a location near you where you can get trucks, you can get SUVs, you can get any type of car that you are looking for, and you can visit a local store near you. AutoNation Toyota, Rapo and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder Grove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain States Toyota and Denver Stevenson Toyota, Eastern Aurora and Stevenson Toyota West and Lakewood Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
And shout out to our friends over at Volo because they've always got stuff going on. Just today, they've got pickup pickleball, pickup volleyball, and another pickup volleyball. Both of those co-ed, by the way, if you're looking to meet somebody. Sand volleyball, all sorts of different stuff going on. And those are just the pickup events. You can join teams, you can join leagues, all that stuff. Volo is Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues. They've got soccer, kickball, basketball, cornhole. They go all year round with all sorts of different stuff. You want to meet people, make friends, be social, stay or get more active, mix up your after-work routine. They've got places to play in Lodo, Rhino, the Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team. Any ability level is welcome, and they have a code for us. So if you want to use the code DNVR10, you can get $10 off any Volo Denver league.
And shout out to the Twitter chat and everyone rolling with us on Friday the 13th in June, which is wild.
Also, no, Zach is not wearing jeans. He doesn't own jeans.
Yeah, no, I'm not wearing
That's
jeans.
right.
I don't know. A couple days ago, so the past 2 days, we've been in the studio, the studio.
Yeah. It's named Studio.
That is definitely an
This is
appropriate.
my cat named Cat.
I don't think it's the studio either. I think we're going over to Studio.
We're going to studio. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to studio.
No.
Ron, you have power to change this, and you still haven't. I
know.
gotta call you out
Somebody
on this,
needs
man.
to buy the rights.
That's true. Someone save us.
Might be
Yes,
Ryan.
please.
Personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could
Every
pool our
time I
money.
say studio, it just sends a chill down his spine.
I wonder how much it would cost if we just like chipped in and called it the DNVR Broncos Studio.
Oh, like we buy the
Wow.
name.
We buy the rights.
And then when the Nuggets do it,
Yeah.
the
Welcome
Nuggets
to
show
DNVR
in the
Broncos.
DNVR
Yeah.
Broncos.
Coming to you from the DNVR Broncos studio.
yeah, we mostly do our studio
Okay,
over or
I like
stuff over
this.
here too.
I like this. I like what we're thinking. But so that studio is shorts friendly.
Yeah.
And so I've been rocking the shorts.
Yeah.
I think it was the day before that we were in here and I was wearing shorts. Man, I got a couple comments about my shorts, like either being
Yeah.
too short, having to do stuff, and so
Yeah.
You're
I gotta
showing
get.
a lot of leg.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to. So I need your guys' tips on how to do it. So today I just wore sweatpants. It's Friday.
You gotta have about a 7-inch inseam
Yep.
to be safe.
Okay.
And then
That might
leg
be my
cross.
issue.
And then you gotta cross your legs. Yeah.
And then-
I mean, you can get away with like this one again.
But
Yeah,
then as soon
yeah.
as you stop paying attention, they start to go up a little bit. It's
Yep.
over.
That's true, and it
Yep.
helps to kind of be in the back of the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I have issues with all of those things. And my
And that's
wife
why
now,
I kind of
my
I
wife
usually
now,
just angle myself. And
Yeah, that's
block it
good.
off.
That's
can
good.
I angle myself in the middle though?
No, not really.
Yeah.
See, and this
Yeah,
is
yeah, our
just why I
skirt
just
expert.
am going with the pants right now.
It's 90 degrees.
I know, I'm gonna burn on the way home.
Yeah.
My wife now wants me to start wearing like 5-inch shorts.
Oh wow.
And
Really?
yeah.
She knows that she can
Wow.
see all that anytime, right?
Wow.
And I know I definitely can't wear those on the show. So anyway, shout out to everyone who's tuning in with us. And Henry, tell me
Yes.
what your biggest takeaway is of the Broncos offseason.
Let's see. I'll go with Q Robinson. I think that's of everybody who is out there, that's the one who I think did more than I expected. Like I didn't come into this expecting to be noticing him every day. But it starts with the first time you see him when he's just big. You know, that's a really big pass rusher. And even when he's out there standing next to guys like Jonathan Cooper, you're like, oh, this is a really big, like,
Yeah.
there's a reason he was such a big time prospect. There's a reason you take a chance on him. There is no reason for Bama not to be playing him more than they did. It's actually insane. Like the numbers, the traits, all that sort of stuff. I don't know why he wasn't on the field more. Because
The reason is because they have what top 15 draft pick at outside linebacker in back-to-back seasons. They're just loaded with talent, and the reason why he didn't play a lot is because when he got his opportunity to play at the first half of his senior season, he got hurt the second half and was out the rest of the season. So it's because he was behind guys like Will Anderson. And who's the guy? Why can't I think of him? Who the Vikings drafted at pick 15 in the Bo Nix draft. It was he was the first defensive player off the board. Yes, Dallas Turner. It's because you had those two guys in front of him for the majority of his career there.
Yeah, for the majority. But again, like this year, it's just a bit of a down. Down year for Bama edge rushers means like, oh, it wasn't the number one pick this year. But still, like to play 9 games and still just be rotational. Like you would have thought this guy is going to be out there more. Because again, like we're talking about somebody who
better for the Broncos though.
Totally, it's an absolute steal. But we're talking about somebody who in the past 5 years has played less football than Pat Surtain played last year from week 14 on.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous.
It's slightly different, but I've made this comp before to like Karl Anthony Towns. When he was at Kentucky, no one knew that he was like a great shooter because they just wanted him to be a back to the basket big. They're like, we have shooters, bro. They're 6'3". You know what I mean? Like, stay down there and rebound. And then he gets to the NBA, and they're like, wait, this guy's a sharpshooter from outside? Like,
exactly.
You know, like you're in these systems where there's so many talented players and they just want you to come in and do one thing really well. And you get to the next level and it's like, oh, this guy's capable of way more than he was ever asked to do in college.
Totally. And it's just ridiculous. Like the efficiency that he was gaining, the quarterback last year, all that stuff. And it just has so far totally translated. And again, there's like the little things where it's like, oh, if I was a defense playing against him, I'd like run a little counter or those toss cracks. Like sometimes he gets lost on those blocks just because he's trying to get inside and the run just goes outside him. But those are young edge rusher things. That's what you expect, especially from a guy who doesn't play or hasn't played much football recently. The fact that every single day he did something that made you think like, wow, he's good. That to me is big. Like he just exceeded expectations more than anybody else out there, at least to me over the past few weeks.
I completely agree. And what I've seen so far, and this is a lot of projection and certainly not expectations and being hopeful, but he could end up being the second outside linebacker starter opposite Nick Bonito in a year or two from now, just from what he's already shown. And again, those are more hopeful things, but he's shown that much where he has won the offseason. Henry, I'm just going to play off you, and I'm going to go the entire rookie class has been so impressive. Maybe it's because last year we were a little just clouded and only focused on Bo Nix, so we didn't focus on some of the other guys. But I don't even think that's true because Troy Franklin didn't stand out last offseason. What Troy Franklin stood out last offseason was getting yelled at every single practice, screamed at. This offseason, it has been the guy who we have paid maybe the least attention to or talked about the least is the first-round pick in Jahdae Barron. And Henry and I talked about yesterday. It's because corners, it's really hard at this time of the season to have them stick out. We also haven't talked about Pat Surtain because if you do your job, you're probably not going to be noticed a lot. So the number one pick from the Broncos has been the least talked about guy. RJ Harvey has been very good. And the number one thing that makes me say that is how the coaches have viewed him over these past 3 weeks and what they've showed with their confidence in him. Pat Bryant, he was supposed to be this guy that Sean Payton was maybe going to turn into something. No, he's been a player right away, and his maturity and his route running has been very impressive. You just talked about Q Robinson, and then the rest of their draft, Savion Jones, he's been very impressive as well. I mean,
another guy just stands out.
It's every single day, physically, and then what he's also doing on the field, getting to the quarterback and stopping some holes in the run game. And then the rest of the draft class is a punter and a 6'8" tight end developmental guy who's actually made some plays. We talked about the one he made yesterday.
Speaking of, Mace has been really high on the punter, and I trust Mace's punter takes.
You should. This dude has a cannon.
Love that. On Jahdae, have you guys seen like at least a couple flashes where you're like, oh, okay, that looks like a first round pick?
He looks like the chess piece that we thought and hoped he was going to be.
Yeah.
So yes, in that perspective.
They haven't come often, but especially, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but there was one day where he was blitzing, and you're like, oh, that probably was a sack there, where he's like faking the blitz and dropping off, and you're like, oh, that... He had me convinced. I thought he was going.
Yep,
so yeah, I wouldn't say there's like big sticky plays. I mean, they also didn't do any one-on-ones or anything like that, at least that we could see. And I'd be curious if you put somebody like that who profiles really well in that sort of environment into those situations, if he would have popped a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, just no complaints.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's another huge takeaway for me is, man, this rookie class does seem different. And Sean Payton points to that 2017 draft class that he had with the Saints that was just stacked from top to bottom. And this one might be one that he's talking about in 10 years from now, saying like, man, this is what really took this Broncos team over the top. At least two more shout outs, because I kind of bashed Troy Franklin about how he was last year. This offseason, he's been great. Him and Devon Vele taking that step from year 1 to year 2, just like Bo Nix has taken that step because he's a quarterback. He's going to get talked about more. But Devon Vele and Troy Franklin, in kind of the exact same ways, they have both added to their body physically. Devon Vele looks like Courtland Sutton now. In terms of like, he's no longer just a tall, skinny receiver. And last year he was compared to Tim Patrick because that's what he looked like. Tim Patrick a little more built because he'd been in the NFL for longer, but now he looks like Courtland Sutton. It might be a slight exaggeration, but I mean, he looks built everywhere around. And then his route running, he just seems like he's the guy. He missed all of this week, but Sean Payton said that he's going to be full go come the start of training camp. That's it.
No, that's it.
That's it.
And
Yeah,
that's it.
Okay.
That's
okay.
it.
Okay. He's good. And with Troy Franklin, he's also added that weight. We talked about it, and he just looks like more of a complete receiver now. And Sean Payton has gone out of his way multiple times to say how explosive he's been this offseason.
Love to see it.
Real quick, just on Q Robinson, my favorite stat, just because I said like all the stats say you should play him a lot more. Of the 514 edge rushers in college football last year, he was 4th in win percentage. So that's all the guys who are playing in like the MAC or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you're going up against garbage. That's Abdul Carter. That's everybody. He's 4th in win percentage out of everybody. Ridiculous.
That might be a steal of the draft.
It might be.
And that's why, like, right after the draft, you had the two guys from the 33rd team who were with PFF, and they both said, not just for the Broncos, for every team in the NFL, Q Robinson was their steal or sleeper of the draft because of all of these stats and how little he played, fell to the 4th round. And I'm going to do a little bit more digging on this, but I got a fun little scoop about how he fell to the Broncos. So maybe over these next 5 weeks, I'll do a little more digging just to confirm it, because it's kind of a crazy one. But I absolutely love that, Henry. And you talk about just the talent that has come from Alabama at that pass rusher spot in the past 2 drafts. 2 top 15 picks. One of them was traded 2 first-round picks so that a team could draft him with the 3rd overall pick just behind the quarterbacks. Man, it's really, really exciting there. One more that I want to say. We've kind of touched on this, and Ryan, you kind of just jokingly brought it up, but Sean Payton's been on one this entire offseason. Not just yesterday, not just at his press conferences with the Broncos. Wednesday's practice, he was all over everyone on the field. He was getting after Bo. He was getting after the offense. And then once it got to team, he was getting after the defense. And not just in like a screaming at you way, but a coaching them up way, extremely involved. And he had those days a little bit last year. But for it to be the 7th practice of the offseason, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And he's been very testy with the media as well. But I've heard behind the scenes with other executives, he's been football executives, he's been very testy and feisty this entire offseason. And to me, this just, in talking with those people, this just kind of shows that he truly believes in this team right now. And we've heard Sean over these past 2 years, he's harder on this team when they're winning. And then we can also see it, just the way he interacts with the team. He's harder on the team when they're winning, when he has high expectations for them. And when they're losing and not very good, okay, then he kind of actually backs off. It's kind of like a different approach than you would expect from most, but that's the way Sean operates. And so this tells me that he's been like this all offseason, that he believes in this team, and he truly believes it.
I feel the same way. I noticed it just from watching from afar. I think he can feel it. And he knows that he just needs to make sure that he gets the extra little push so that all the details are right, so that this team can actually be a true contender. and he knows what it looks like. So it's exciting. It's unfortunate for you guys and all the other people who have to deal with him every day, but it's a good thing for Broncos Country.
Yeah. Again, we talked about it yesterday, but like when your team is happy, you get to push them. When your team is sad, you need to lift them up. And after the way the last couple months of the season went last year, they're all feeling good. So what do? You make sure that they aren't just feeling good and go into practice every day like, yep, we're a good football team. That's when you need to kick their asses. If they're a bad team that's down in the dumps, that's when you need to tell them that they're good and baby them a bit. So it all makes sense.
Yep, exactly. Any final takeaways? In just a second, I just want to give everyone a reminder to become a diehard. It really helps us out. We love the support, but also we feel like we're providing a fantastic product for you guys. You get to join our Discord. You get a free t-shirt of your choice. And boy, we have so many awesome t-shirts going on. Mm-hmm. And next week, we're having a really fun week. I don't know if it's been announced yet officially, so don't want to blow it.
It has been announced.
It has been announced. We're having Spirit Week here at DNVR, where we're going to be rocking all of our Spirit, literally rocking it on our bodies and then also rocking it all throughout the week. And we want you to join us, and the best way to do that is becoming a diehard. And starting a week from today on Fridays, we're going to be doing a really cool thing for diehards. You have to be a diehard to participate on this show with us. So make sure to go to thednvr.com and become a diehard. And when you do, make sure to say hello in the Toyota chat so we can officially welcome you to the community. Any final takeaways that you guys want to get off your chest before we get to our scary draft?
No, I was just going to say that people always ask me, like, are you afraid to ask Coach Prime a question? And my answer is always no, because I know how to not, cross him, I guess would be the word, but that makes it sound way more intense. I know how to not set him up to dunk on me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would be way more on my toes in a Sean Payton press conference, because if Coach Prime dunks on you, he does it in like a funny way, whereas Sean Payton, I feel like, just posterizes you.
Yeah. Especially now with feisty, salty Sean. And that's exactly what it is. He is salty. And those were his words about what this past week was going to be like. Yesterday, man, that's it was impressive.
And there was another one?
There were a couple of them. What was the other big one? It was... he was asked at the end of the press conference, Sean, do you have any plans for this summer? And would you like to tell us? He said, yes, I have plans. And no, I will not be telling you.
Good one.
And he said, that's it. We're done now.
Yeah,
that's the end of the press conference.
He also, I'm sure we've told you this, but you know how Patrick Smythe leads the press conferences and says like 2 more questions, 1 more question. Okay, thank you, coach. That's it. No, Patrick Smythe did that the very first press conference, and Sean said, never again. So Sean dictates his own press conferences, and sometimes he'll go 25 minutes and we will run out of questions and he'll say thank you and walk off. Other times there'll be one question that he doesn't like and he says final question, and boom, that's it.
That really sucks, because you can never count on your colleagues to have good questions.
Yep. And the one yesterday about, do you have any plans? Pissed him off, I guess, and that was it.
The answer did not make it into the transcripts, by the way.
Yeah.
That one was not included.
I bet you...
Neither did the that's it.
No, that didn't either.
I would put heavy dollars on him going to Cabo.
Cabo and Coeur d'Alene. Both of those places, I believe he's going to be spending a lot of time at.
Certainly Coeur d'Alene. The thing is...
Coeur d'Alene's better weather right now.
Yes. Cabo, he's been there recently. So like Coeur d'Alene, he always goes, but Cabo, is that like I do this all the time, or is it like it's in the rotation? Is my question.
I think it's I do this all the time. Situation.
I would go to Cabo right now in June, and then go to, once it gets end of June, July, go to Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene, I feel like if you went there, it would be impossible not to see a big NFL name.
Oh,
which is weird because it's not my favorite place.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never been, so tell me about it.
It kind of has a history. Bad history.
It does have a bad history. Also, like, it has that one golf course that's really nice, and you give them that. But the rest of the time, it's like, of all the places in this area, would not be, I don't know. It just never really stood out to me as anything interesting. There is a lake.
Is that golf course unbelievably nice?
Yeah.
I wonder what it costs. Yeah, I mean, so it's famous for like it has the floating green in the lake.
Oh wow.
You got to take a boat to it.
Exactly. And so it's in my opinion a bit of a gimmick, but it is like a cool gimmick, and because of that, they do get to charge more.
But like that's really the only thing that sets it apart.
That can't be the reason why like John Elway,
everyone.
Brock Osweiler,
I know.
Jake Plummer, Sean Payton,
Wayne Gretzky.
Like, why are they?
Like there was
I
a
don't
piece
know.
written by Seth Wickersham.
Seth Wickersham.
Yes, thank you. I'm not even gonna try. Where he followed Sean Payton around in the year that he was off.
How did Sean
of
allow
football? I have no idea. And the names that Sean was eating breakfast with every day was John Elway, was Wayne Gretzky, and it was those guys just in the entire clubhouse. And the part of the story that he focused on was like, yeah, then by the time training camp came around, all of those guys left. And then Wayne Gretzky, when hockey came around, because he was doing commentating, he left. And then Sean was just sad and bored and lonely because he was the only one left as the fall came around. And then that's when he decided to go back into football. But yeah, that's interesting. That's not like the best place because that's where everyone goes,
Yeah,
it seems.
I guess maybe it's different. I haven't like spent too much time there since I was in like middle school, but I've like driven through. It's like, yeah, I mean, like it's fine. There's nothing special about it.
You're also coming from a very, and I don't mean this in a bad way, privileged position of
That is true.
all of like you've seen all of that part of the country.
That is true.
And so like you could probably put some rankings.
not
Like I
the
think
peak.
if Zach or I showed up there today, we'd be like, this is unbelievable.
That could be. But also, like, to me, it's like, I hate Whitefish, Montana, but it just seems so much better than Coeur d'Alene and has just about all the things. Like, it has a golf.
I
Looking
think
now,
there's
that
some
golf
biases
course.
coming in here.
I think so, too. And the golf
it's
course
like-
is like $250. But, like, that part of Idaho in general, like, I don't. The nightlife, the restaurant, all that stuff. Just I've never seen anything that is all that notable. But
It would
maybe
be
it's
like
changed.
me saying like, why would you go to Alta when you could go to Vail? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that because Vail's in Colorado and Alta's in Utah.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's like maybe there is more like hiking and stuff. And I guess maybe the fact that it is so like it is like its own little community is appealing.
Probably for super rich people
Yeah.
who just
like
want to
they
see
have-
other super rich people.
Yeah. Also like dude,
All right.
I don't know.
Should we dive into our draft?
Yes.
So, in honor of Friday the 13th, we are doing the scariest Broncos on the field draft. And looks like I have the first pick. Don't really love having the first pick with this one. I feel like the first pick is clear. I don't know. Maybe I'll totally mess this up. But I'm going with a guy that was scary. And I'm going to go Bill Romanowski.
Good pick.
Thank you. I was not sure. Henry.
He's pretty easily the scariest Bronco of all time, I would
Yeah.
say. And it's because he's like admitted that he just would purposefully hurt people.
Yeah. And I think that's the tough part in this draft is like those sorts of lines. Cuz like obviously that helps, but I'm going to go Von Miller because he just like if you're a quarterback, how do you not go to that game scared? Because you know that you're winding up on your back 6, 7. Like it may not be like violent collisions, but you are getting hit over and over and over.
I dislike that pick quite a bit.
Okay.
And really quick,
Even-
people in the Twitter chat are asking, it's not the current team? No, anyone, all
Yes.
time.
Even Vaughn would say that he went out of his way to take care of the quarterbacks.
Even tried to almost
Yes.
help Tyrod Taylor off the ground one time.
But you're still just getting hit over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
We get back to back here, Ryan.
Yeah.
Von Miller.
Von
Yep.
Miller. So,
There's so many. You
I
literally
know.
have to go through like thousands.
I'm going to take Derek Wolfe here.
Ah, it's a good one.
3. Literally threatened to eat people's children.
True.
That's
Not just people, Tom Brady's children.
Yeah, he threatened to eat his children. It's a really scary threat.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna. Oh man, I think I can get this guy in the later round, so I'm not gonna take him right now.
Ooh, okay.
I think I can get him in the later rounds too.
Wow, you got a lot of good late round picks.
I do have a lot of good late
There are
round
only
picks. I just
5
don't
rounds.
trust you guys to know these guys or
Oh.
think of them. I'm going to go Al Wilson here.
No.
Okay.
No.
And the reason I took him is because I knew you were going to take him.
Yes, he would have been my second pick. That's a good one. Very good one.
Yeah.
I know. Henry, you're
You
up.
could have taken him in
Yeah.
the first round, bro.
I know.
I'm surprised Steve Atwater's still available. Like, I feel like that's such an easy. I'm going Atwater here.
Yeah, really good one.
I think he has a case for like number 1 overall even.
He's just such a good
I know.
guy and like a nice guy, which
Yeah.
makes me. I mean, he would have been. I would have picked him in second or third
Yeah.
round. So it's a really good pick.
I want my team to have like a snarl,
Oh,
and
okay.
Steve just has a smile.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's called the Smiling Assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
Assassin
He hits.
is still there.
Yep, it's true. It's a good one. I'm gonna go with a guy at the same position as Steve Atwater, who nice off the field, but like man, moment he steps on the field, scary as can be. Brian Dawkins.
Yeah.
Not a Bronco for long, but a very scary guy.
And if I'm honest, I don't really remember him having that many big hits as a Bronco.
I remember being scared watching him come out of the Eagles tunnel, like on all fours and or no, he wasn't. That was, but like the Eagle, scary. I'm gonna go with a guy that is that's recent. I'm gonna go with Aqib Talib. You never knew what Aqib was thinking, and that scared the crap out of everyone. I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Henry.
This is Rich Jackson. Old school. Again, the chat was pounding the
Tombstone.
table. Yes, exactly. But that is the right move. I don't know too much about him, but the more you read about him, the crazier it gets. Like his favorite move was the head slap. So you just take the left tackle and just hit him in the head and run by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Can't
good
do
one.
that anymore.
Yeah, no.
No, that got banned.
Well, this is back to me.
Back
Here's
to
a
back
quote
for
from
you.
Len Dawson. When I think of him, I think of pain.
That's a good
That's
quote.
a pretty good one.
It's a great quote to have associated
Yeah.
with a defensive player.
I'm going to take here Lyle Alzado.
Yep.
I like that.
It's not hard to spell.
Yeah. It's a, what? Yeah.
Once boxing a charity boxing match against Muhammad Ali
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yep.
That is crazy.
at Mile High.
Wow. That must have been electric.
Yeah, they were doing some wild stuff back then. Also, Woody Page has some crazy stories about Lyle that maybe he'll share when he gets done trashing the Rockies 24/7.
Yeah.
It could be a while.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be.
It could be a while. And then with my next pick, this one's a little bit of a deep cut. Like you would have had to watch during this time to know this guy, but he was suspended multiple times for the hits that he put on people, and that's Kenoi Kennedy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's a good one.
That is good.
And I think, like, as a viewer, he was the scariest person I've ever watched, because anytime there was a ball like around him, I'm just like, I thought I might see someone die.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he was at the very end of the head hunting era,
Yeah.
when you could just go helmet to helmet across the middle while a receiver's going up for a ball, and he did a lot of damage that I think probably caused them to change the rules.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This is another one with John Lynch still on the board.
Yeah.
Like that's another one of the just ridiculously hard hitters. There was one game I remember going to against the Colts. I think it was Dallas Clark on the sideline, and John just, it must have been helmet to helmet, but the sound it made, like you just never forget the sound of Dallas Clark's helmet. Just this crack. Just ridiculous hitter.
I love that. Love that. I'm gonna go.
Who'd you pick?
John Lynch.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go.
Ryan Green in the comments. Can campaigning for John Lynch.
Yeah, okay, as he should be.
Still
Yeah,
at the
it's a
end
good
the end of his career, just like Brian Dawkins. Like,
But he was still hitting, is the
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, in the 4th round, I like it. I'm gonna go.
Huh.
No, I like.
Oh yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
In the 4th round, I like that part. Surprised me. Again, I thought he could be first off the board.
It was
I thought
a
he was in
compliment,
conversation.
Henry.
Yeah, I know. So backhanded though.
We're gonna finish this draft over in overtime over at thednvr.com. Scroll down just a little bit when you get to the website, then it's gonna pop up right there. We're gonna go to overtime to finish this draft, and to finish this draft, I got back-to-back picks. I'm going to go. I'm going to do this one for the Toyota chat. Randy Gradishar, guy that played all over the field. What you did not want to see him on the offensive side. So I'll go Gradishar. And then to end it, man, there's so many places to go. And I'm going to go with the guy. This one's for me. Maybe a little off. No, I like it. DJ Williams. I'm going to go
Okay.
DJ. I think he's a pretty scary dude to face. Henry, your final pick.
I'm torn between two. Give me Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
I guess I probably shouldn't say who I was torn with because I don't want to give any ideas. But yeah, he's another just super hard hitter from an era where you're allowed to hit really hard. I think I won this draft.
Wow.
You are going to win the draft because you have the biggest names.
Wow.
And because of that, I'm just gonna keep taking guys that I remember. Easily the most vicious hit I've ever seen in my life came from this guy, and I can't get it out of my head, and probably neither can Matt Schaub.
I was gonna say, did
Joe
an ear
Mays.
get taken
Yeah.
off? Yeah, that's a good one. That
Joe Mays.
for being like a guy that wasn't a star, people knew where he was on the field
Yes,
at all
dude.
times.
Because that's what he was out there. He was like an enforcer
Yep.
in hockey.
It's-
Like he's just gonna go out there and try to hit people really hard, and when he connects, it's gonna be bad.
Yep.
Man, I love a lot of people wondering where Kareem Jackson was. I think if we would have
He's on
gone a
the
couple
list,
more
yeah.
rounds, he certainly would have been there.
Oh,
And
TJ Ward surprises me too.
TJ Ward, yeah, that would have been a really
was
good
another one
pick
that just
as well.
hits.
Broncos have a history of hard hitters, so we couldn't get them all in. Danny Trevathan thrown out there as well. This was a great show, fun show. Little preview of what's to come the next 5 weeks as we are not taking this time off, despite the Broncos taking it off. We're going to be here Monday morning, 11 a.m. And before we get out of here, we got a super chat from our friend Star Rizard Reviews. Says hello from Wisco. Go Pack Go. What?
What?
Plus, let's go Bo. Huh? What is our ceiling if all the injury-prone free agents we got get re-injured?
What the hell,
Scary
bro?
thought, but it could happen.
The Packers or who is we here?
Yeah, for real.
I don't know, because Go Pack Go, but then let's go Bo. We got some confused
Maybe
fans here.
Wolfpack? No,
No,
because he says
no.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, no,
definitely
he's
the
a Broncos
Packers.
Packers fan. I don't want to talk about this.
So,
It's too jinxy to me.
Okay.
what is our ceiling?
What's our
It's still-
ceiling
it's
if
still
all
higher
of
than
our
last year, for
free
sure.
agents get injured? That's
It
terrible.
is it was a pretty crazy decision to go after only guys with injury histories, though.
Yeah.
But think about this. If on the defensive side, it's where it was last year, if not probably a little bit higher, just the natural stepping in a defense for a little longer. And on the offensive side, it's... I don't even want to like point to who I'm thinking of.
it
Everyone knows
doesn't
who I'm
change
thinking
from the
of.
way it was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
It just
you're
takes
right.
a little step
Yeah.
up from last year too. So the ceiling is still higher. But yeah, wow. Starzard. I don't know if you're truly. That's sad. Stephen B rounds us out and says probably a Grossi Perna fan too. LOL. Yeah.
Yes.
Same crossover. You probably love that.
Yeah, it's very true. Man, Steven, good call there. And good call to everyone joining us this week. We appreciate everyone. It's been a different schedule over this past week, but next week we're getting back to our 11 a.m.s every day throughout the week, and we got Spirit Week going on, so you're going to want to make sure to join us on Monday's show. We're going to be talking about the Broncos. Lots to break down. excited to do it after the weekend. Have a terrific weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.